Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Coastal News. And today is Friday the 13th of May. So yes, despite the day it is today, I'm going to successfully just get straight into the news today. Obviously, as always, there is some amazing news about different theme parks, rides and attractions all over the world. So let's get straight into the news today. Our top story for tonight. EPCOT Disney World have revealed new updated concept art for the EPCOT overhaul, which is taking place right now. And obviously, we kind of thought that there were going to be some changes to the EPCOT overhaul since COVID started, way back in 2020. Basically, if you don't know what I'm talking about, in 2017, I think it were, 2017, Disney announced at the D23 Expo that EPCOT was going to receive a major overhaul that was initially going to be completed by the 50th anniversary in 2021. Obviously, the refurbishment, it started pretty much immediately. They announced various new attractions as well as refurbishments to existing rides and buildings and theming and whatnot. They announced the Guardians of the Galaxy roller coaster, which didn't have an official name at the time. They also announced other things as well. They announced that I think they announced that there was going to be a Spaceship Earth overhaul. I don't think they announced loads of details. All I remember is that they announced that the overhaul was happening. It was going to be by the 50th anniversary, and there was going to be a new Guardians of the Galaxy roller coaster replacing Ellen's Energy Adventure. And then obviously in 2019 we got some more new details regarding this overhaul. For starters, they gave us a new EPCOT logo, which was reminiscent to the original one back when it was called EPCOT Center. They announced the name of the Guardians of the Galaxy coaster, with it being called Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind, which is obviously what it's known as now. They announced also that I think they said Spaceship Earth was going to close in 2020, I think they said, for the overhaul, and it was going to be reopened in 2022. They announced a new Mary Poppins attraction for the United Kingdom Pavilion, which was planned. They announced a new Moana themed walkthrough attraction called Journey of Water, which was going to connect the land and sea pavilion. They also said that the whole area of Future World was going to be split into 3 different areas, which they're calling neighbourhoods. These areas were going to be called World Celebration, World's Discovery and World Nature. And obviously that was quite amazing news. They also announced various different overhaul details for like the centre area of the park, which is pretty much the main area of what Future World was. Because obviously that area has now been split into 3 areas. There's World Discovery, which I think is where Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind is. World Celebration, I think that's like in sort of the middle area just outside Spaceship Earth. And obviously World Nature, where things like the Land Pavilion and Journey of Water are, and Finding Nemo, The Rise, The Seas with Nemo and Friends are. So obviously it was very exciting. We were all extremely happy and really excited for this announcement. And also they announced the Play Pavilion, which was going to go in the, what was it called? It was in a former attraction that was in like a golden dome building. I can't remember what it was called. But that was also planned to open in 2021. And obviously there was a lot of different things that they announced. They announced so many things for the EPCOT overhaul. It was really exciting. And obviously we're all ready for this 50th anniversary celebration to start. And then obviously a few months later, COVID happened. Disney parks closed for like 3 or 4 months. 4 months until like mid-July. Disney, Magic Kingdom and Animal Kingdom I think opened on like the 11th of July in 2020, and EPCOT and Disney's Hollywood Studios reopened on the 15th of July that year, I think. Because obviously EPCOT was basically just a massive construction site at that point, and Disney's Hollywood Studios was incredibly popular with the recent attractions of things like Mickey, Minnie's Runaway Railway, Toy Story Land, Star Wars, Galaxy's Edge, all things like that. And over the next few months, the refurbishment at EPCOT, the overhaul, construction, there wasn't really any construction because of COVID restrictions. but then it started to slowly pick back up again as the months went on, until start of 2021, I guess, or end of 2020, when the refurbishment actually started at full pace again. Because all the middle area of EPCOT, where just outside of Spaceship Earth, that's all fenced off because of refurbishing it all. They actually started vertical construction on Journey of Water so far. Another thing I forgot to mention, Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, which was a trackless dark ride that was a clone of the one at Disneyland Paris, that opened in the France Pavilion October last year. It was originally supposed to open in summer 2020, but obviously COVID, it got delayed by about a year and a half. It opened on the 1st of October 2021, in time for the 50th anniversary celebrations. Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind was fully built, tested, and is now going to open in 2 weeks from today. Until it's got like past all the previews going on, and there's a few previews online. It looks amazing. As for the Mary Poppins attraction and the Spaceship Earth overhaul, those have been put on hold indefinitely. We've literally heard absolutely nothing on the Mary Poppins attraction and the EPCOT overhaul for over a year. I'm not sure why, because we had no idea what the Mary Poppins attraction was going to be, but we knew that the Spaceship Earth overhaul was going to be a complete reimagining of Spaceship Earth that involved basically changing all the scenes and all the story and things like that, and just changing the whole theme of the ride. But that was put on hold. I'm not sure. I'm thinking it might be because the Spaceship Earth overhaul and the Mary Poppins attraction were probably the most expensive things that they had planned for Epcot, and obviously COVID lost Disney billions of dollars. I'm not even joking, they actually lost a few $1 billion. So obviously they had to be put on hold until further notice. We still haven't heard anything about them for over a year now, so getting a bit worried, but hopefully all the other things, so things like Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind, which we know is going to open in a few weeks, Journey of Water, other things as well, such as the Play Pavilion. They also opened the Space 220 restaurant, which was a restaurant located outside of Mission Space that is supposed to simulate they were eating a restaurant literally in space, just above Earth. They opened that last year as well, finally. That opens. So hopefully all these other things that they got planned should open by hopefully end of this year. And obviously it's still quite exciting. I mean, it's not as much as they originally planned because, well, the Mary Poppins attraction and Spaceship Earth overhaul won't happen until further notice, but the other day they actually released some new concept art regarding the middle area of the park. There wasn't really much different apart from the fact that there was a building they had, which was I can't even remember what it was called originally. It was actually quite an iconically shaped building that just looked like a giant white table, but it was actually it was one of the things that they announced at D23 in 2019. It looked really promising. It was supposed to be like a demonstration centre of live music shows and things like that, because that's what Epcot is becoming. That has been changed recently to the Communicore Hall, which is obviously reminiscent to the Communicore attraction that existed at Epcot. It serves the same purpose, but it's just like the budget's been dropped a little bit. So it's news about the Epcot overhaul. I mean, it's kind of been downgraded a little bit, but we kind of saw this coming with the budget cuts that just basically when COVID just ruins the entire world and caused Disney to bring Lightning Lane to the Disney parks. But we're not going to talk about that. We're talking about Epcot. So obviously in this new concept art, all that's changed is really the Communicore area thing. I don't know what we were even called originally. But everything else seems to be still on track. So they're actually, one of the things adding, which hopefully they're still going to add, is a thing called Dreamer's Point, which was going to be a statue of Walt Disney himself. Reminiscent to the one at Magic Kingdom, but obviously slightly different. It's still going to be a statue of Walt Disney, because Walt Disney himself actually originally intended for Epcot to be a full-on community, a city where people can live in and learn and like a proper community, civilization. Obviously, over the years since Walt Disney's passing, that changed into a theme park. But they're going to add that as a reminiscence of him, and it's obviously really amazing, and I cannot wait to see EPCOT fully refurbished in a couple of years' time at this rate, because the construction, even though it has started back up, it's taken quite a while. But yeah, I'm really excited to see it. Also in the news today, Drayton Manor have officially changed their logo. And obviously, I don't really know what to say about this, quite frankly. They've changed their logo. They literally said that it was like a step into the new era of Drayton Manor. Because obviously, if you don't know what that means, in like 2018 or 17, they had an accident on the Rapids ride that they had. We're not going to talk about that but into detail, but that, and also another thing that happened on their G-Force ride, which was a roller coaster at Drayton Manor. After that, the park just struggled financially, and the future was looking quite not very hopeful for Drayton Manor. Obviously resulted in the G-Force roller coaster getting demolished. The Rapids ride remained closed for a few years. Since then, a flood has happened and a fire in the park. The fire was last year. The flood was during lockdown 2020. And obviously, when COVID happened, they lost also a lot of money, and there were rumours that the park was going to close within the next couple of years. It was really sad. But then, a sign of hope came in the form of an announcement that the Looping Group had officially purchased Flamingo Land. Not Flamingo Land, Drayton Manor. Why did I say Flamingo Land? And they said that they wanted Drayton Manor to become the flagship park of the Looping Group. They're the company that owns the likes of Pleasurewood Hills and places like that. And obviously, they still want it to be a family park. Some thrill rides exist, such as Shockwave and Apocalypse, and things like Stormforce 10. They still exist, but going to add some new family additions. And they did that pretty much effective immediately, where the next season they added a new area called Adventure Cove. And this area was, obviously, it was a retheme of the area that Shockwave, Stormforce 10, Maelstrom and the Rapids were in. The Rapids actually reopened with some new safety measures. They added all different theming around the whole area to make it more immersive. And they also added a new ride called Wave Swinger, which was built, I think, just next to Shockwave. And it was all amazing. It was really promising for Drayton Manor. And then, literally, a few months later, when the park closed for the season, they started teasing yet another new themed area. This one was going to be located in a different area, though, obviously. They later announced that the new area was going to be called Vikings, which was the land of discovery they're claiming it to be. Where they're basically, what they're going to do is they're going to retheme the Buffalo roller coaster. They're adding a Zamperla Nebulaz ride called Loki, adding a Zamperla Disco ride, which was seen to 4, and a different attraction as well as a restaurant. So there's a lot of new rides in the area, and it all looks really amazing. This area looks to be a bit more ambitious than Adventure Cove, because obviously this one has a lot more new rides in it. Plus, they're retheming the Buffalo coaster as well. So it all looks amazing, and obviously a few months ago they also announced that they have a very big project planned for 2023, which is next year, in case you didn't know that. But it all seems incredibly exciting. The future is now really bright for Drayton Manor, and then suddenly the other day they announced that they have changed their logo. I'm not sure why they've done that. They said it's part of the new era, but I can understand because it's the new era, but they didn't really need to change their logo. Obviously you can see it on the screen just there. If you ask me, I actually prefer the original one, because this one looks a bit oversimplified if you ask me. But obviously, if they feel it's part of a new era, then that means changing the logo. But that literally means that they are going to have change all of the branding at the park that has the original Drayton Manor logo on it, or at least the previous one, because they've had a few logos in a lifetime, to this new one, which I assume they're in the process of doing as we speak. But yeah, this is kind of an interesting development from Drayton Manor. Obviously the logo change isn't really going to affect anything that they do in the future, because like I said, they have a big project planned for 2023. So let's just hope that they go in the right direction from here onwards. In other news today, Alton Towers have revealed new details regarding the scare mazes for Scarefest in 2022. And this is quite interesting. I didn't really know this was going to happen, but basically they've announced for Scarefest 2022 is they've put the mazes, the scare mazes, on sale, so you can book the tickets for them right now, I think. They have announced that 3 out of the 4 they've announced that there will be 4 scare mazes for Scarefest this year, like last season. However, they have said that 3 out of the 4 scare mazes from last season will be returning, but one of them will be gone forever, as it will be replaced by a brand new scare maze. Now, this is pretty much exactly what I predicted a few months ago, because if you don't know, a few months ago I made a video called Alton Towers Scarefest 2022 Predictions, and it's still online. You can watch the full video right now if you want to, but basically I said that in that video, I said that this season the Alton Towers were going to basically bring back 3 out of the 4 scare mazes from last season. Those mazes I thought were going to come back were Darkest Depths, the Attic Terror of the Towers, and Freak Show Toxic Junkyard, and I predicted that it would be Altonville Mine Tours that would be the one to get the axe. Now I still stand by that theory, because Darkest Depths and Attic were only introduced in 2019, so they're relatively new, and Freak Show Toxic Junkyard was introduced in 2020, so all those 3 mazes are relatively new. I don't think they're really going to demolish within like 1, 2 or 3 years after they originally opened, whereas Altonville Mine Tours, that maze was first opened I think in like 2016, so it's been quite a few years since that one opened. It's been 6 years ago this year. It was a similar time frame for Platform 15 End of the Line at Fort Park. That opened in 2015 and it ran for 6 years up until last year, when they renamed it to Platform 15 End of the Line, and they said it was going to be the final year. Although that was because they were building a new roller coaster, Project Exodus. Although I still stand by my theory that Altonville Mine Tours will be the one that doesn't exist this year. I think it's going to be, as for what maze could possibly replace it, I'm thinking it could be something similar along the lines to trailers at Fort Park. Because if you don't know, this year is the 50th anniversary of Scarefest. And they've even proven this by introducing a new logo where it says 15 years on the top, in the logo. So it looks like it could be one of the best Scarefests in years. I wasn't able to visit Scarefest last season, but from what I've heard, it was very similar to Scarefest in 2020, but with Trick or Treat Town. So yeah, I'm hoping that this year will be better than some of the other previous seasons. Obviously, Alton Towers for Scarefest, they don't have scare zones anymore. They used to have scare zones, but they've not had any for a few years. Fort Park still have loads of scare zones for Friday nights, but Alton Towers don't. They mainly have mazes and other forms of entertainment such as the Alton Ancestors. But I'm hoping this year they could also introduce at least one new scare zone somewhere, possibly in Haunted Hollow or Gloomy Wood, and they could possibly do it similar to how Chessington did Vile Villages of Wild Woods. That would be really cool to see, actually. But yeah, overall, this Scarefest looked to be the best one. I'm thinking it could be the best Scarefest that we've had in years, and I really cannot wait for it. And finally, in the news today, Inversion at Flamingo Land could start testing within days from now. And I have waited to say those words for a very long time. Like, for the past 3 years. The past 3 years now, I've waited to say those words. That the rider's going to start testing soon. Basically, a few weeks ago, there were pictures online of one of the ride vehicles on the transfer track just outside the station. And then, within a couple of days, in the past week, there have been images online of the ride vehicle literally no longer on the transfer track, but physically in the station. This is so exciting. Honestly, I cannot believe it. It almost feels too good to be true, because we're finally going to get to see this new ride open after 2 years of delays. Because if you don't know what I'm talking about, basically, Inversion at Flamingo Land is a Intamin multi-looping coaster. It's similar to Colossus at Fort Park, but it's got a different drop. It's got lap bars and a cable lift tilt, as well as it being taller and faster. And it was relocated from Hopi Hari in Brazil. It was supposed to open for the 2011 season at Hopi Hari, but they couldn't afford to build it, so they relocated it to Movie Animation Park Studios in Malaysia, where it was in storage for a few years. And then Flamingo Land actually bought the ride in 2019, where since then it's actually been fully built, repainted, because that was in the planning application. And obviously in recent months there's been plenty of landscaping done, even some plants and rock work. Well, not that much rock work, but there's been plenty of fences. The queue line's been built, the station's pretty much been fully built, and it all looks pretty much almost like 90% ready to go. All they have to do now is test the ride, and that could happen within the next few days. This is so exciting. We could actually see the ride. This is actually the first time they've done proper testing since March 2020, because basically in March 2020, just before lockdown, they had actually done pull-through testing of some parts of the ride's train. Now, back then the ride was still red track and yellow supports, with the train being like a completely green train. They were pulling the train very slowly along the track with a crane, just to see if there were any like problems with the track. And I think they had pretty much completed the pull-through testing, but then lockdown was announced and all the theme parks closed. Everything just went crazy, if you remember. But then obviously in recent days the train has been seen on the track, the full train in the station. We could literally see videos online of it testing within days. This is so exciting. Flamingo have been saying that the ride is planned to open in either June or July, so within the next 2 months this ride could hopefully be fully operational and with riders on it. I'm honestly so excited. We need a better version of Colossus in this country, because this is just so exciting now, and I really cannot wait for it. So yeah, that is it for this week's episode of Coaster News. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you have, then please make sure to like, subscribe, and comment if you would like to see in the next video. Bye!